All right, everybody. So today what I want to do is I want to make sure that you guys can access something called Classlink. And Classlink is something that you're going to be, it's a resource, it's a website that you're going to be using for a lot of your other teachers. The one thing about Classlink for when it comes to tech ed, whether you're in 6th, 7th, or 8th grade, is I have to show you a couple of other resources that allow you to open some software applications that we're going to use on the computer, as well as give you an opportunity to save files to Google Drive, from within the web browser as well too. So we're going to try and work through those today. Step one of any time that you're going to log into anything you're doing as far as being an online learner is you want to go to google.com. I'm a big fan of Google Chrome, and I would recommend you guys use that. It does work with Firefox, but I think that it's important for us to basically take the steps that we know are going to work the best with the least amount of issues, and Google Chrome seems to fit that bill for me. All right, so google.com. You want to make sure that you're signing in as your school username. So you may log into google.com, and it may show that you're logged into Google. The reality of it is you may be logged in with a personal account as opposed to a school account, and you don't want to do that. You want to absolutely make sure that you're logged in with your school account. If things aren't going well and things aren't working the way that they're supposed to, step number one would be make sure you're actually using your school account and not a personal account. Most of the time, that's what the problem is. So I'm going to go ahead and click sign in here. You'll see I've got a lot of different accounts that I can choose from, including a student account, including my daughter's account in another school district, and then some personal accounts that I have. I am actually going to sign in as I have a student account called MS Tech Ed Student, right? So my first name being MS and my last name being Tech Ed. I'm going to sign in and assume that identity for what it is that we're going to do today. So I'm just going to go ahead and click that, and I'm going to put my password in for that. You guys, of course, when you're doing this, it will be your username here. So it's usually your year of graduation, last name, first name at seal-pa.org, and then this is your lunch password. So you're going to go ahead and click next. That's going to get me into Google. That is step one. You can't really do any of the other things without signing into Google, all right? As I roll over the little picture right here, you'll see that MS Tech Ed Student at seal-pa.org, that's who I'm signed in as, all right? If I click the little waffle iron here, you'll see that Google Drive is there, that Google Classroom is there, and you have a whole bunch of other resources that you'll cover with other teachers, and I'll get to at another time. For now, I want to cover getting into the other portion of the necessary locations that you need to get into for tech ed. All right. So I click on another browser here. If you type in the website launchpad.classlink.com/seals, it should bring you to here. Truth be told, you can also go to www.classlink.com. You can geolocate where we're at right now. You can allow the computer to geolocate it. You can select Selinsgrove Area Middle School and get to the exact same spot where we're at right now. But this is just a quicker way to do it, and I would highly recommend that you make it a favorite, as in one of your bookmarks that you'll have here, and then you can just click it and you can access it very quickly because you're going to need it a lot this year, right? Your username is just your username. Notice there's no @seal-pa.org with this one. So it's just your username. It's your normal password. You'll go ahead and click sign in. Sorry, I keep hitting the wrong side of my keyboard. That's going to bring us to Classlink, which I know Mrs. Bastian has shown you guys this, and some of you are going to have to need some of these other applications to get at what you need to get at, right, for other classes. For me, at this point, we're going to go down here to My Files. You have to do this every single time for tech ed, okay? Your first time through, you are going to click Manage Services here, and Google Drive will not be connected. So let me just disconnect that. So your first time through, you're going to have to click Connect. It's going to ask you to log in to the Google Drive account that you want. So there's my MS Tech Ed student again. and I have to click allow. And you get the little green check mark which says everything is good to go. All right. You can actually close down that window at this point. All right, which just gets you back to here. So my apps is what you see here. If you click my files, it takes you to that other window. The next step, we have to go to remote application. All right, when you go to remote application, it takes a moment. Remember, this is accessing a remote server. And for this one, your username is going to be your normal username, sorry about that, as seal-pa.org and your normal password. So I'm going to go ahead and click sign in. And this is going to bring you into here, okay? This is actually a remote server where we have SolidWorks, where we have Photoshop and a bunch of other really cool programs. The really neat thing is that we can access SolidWorks through a web browser, whether you're on a Windows-based computer or whether you're on a Google Chromebook or whether you're on a Mac laptop. Any of those would work. So if you have a home computer that is better than the one that the school gives you, maybe you guys have an awesome computer at home, you can do all these same things within a Google Chrome browser and use your home computer to do what it is that we're doing right now, okay? So before we access any of these programs, the next thing we have to do is go to Drive File Stream. And we're going to go ahead and click that and click Allow. And we're going to let it do its thing, all right? As it takes a couple of seconds, the more people that are hitting the server at the same time, the longer it's going to take. So what I would recommend is you be just as patient as you need to be. That's tough. It's tough for me to be patient, but the more patient you are, the easier this is all going to work. So let it go ahead and go through configuring that connection. This screen should disappear eventually, hopefully, possibly. There we go. So typically the first time you log in, it's going to ask you to sign in to Google Drive. So you have to go back through again and type this in. It's a pain in the neck, but here's what it is. MSTechEd student at seal-pa.org. You are going to, of course, replace this with your username, the at seal-pa.org you're going to put there. So I'm going to hit next. It's going to ask me to put my password in. I'm going to hit next. And hopefully this thing is going to open. Now, so everything's going to work. You guys, as you open this up, if you want to click through this and look at all the pretty pictures and such, you can. I'm not going to do that for this video. I don't want to waste that time. But basically the idea of Google Drive File Stream is it allows you to save stuff that we're working on, to save projects that we're working on in Tech Ed class into Google Drive, which is a remote drive, and then it allows you to hand it in through Google Classroom. So I know that sounds complicated, but it'll make more sense when we actually get to it. Let's just close this out of the way here. And what should pop up is this white screen, right? So if you look over here, when you open yours, this PC is probably going to be collapsed. So you're going to click this to expand it, and you'll see all these different drives. If you actually click this PC, it brings them up here. What's really important is that you're going to have a Z drive that has your name on it. So that's a Z drive, a remote access drive that you can save to, and you can actually get to it from school here too if you're an in-person learner. Here's the biggie. Google Drive File Stream is now here. All right. Now that is huge. You guys can't realize how huge that is, that this is here, but it absolutely is. Okay. I'm going to let this up. So if you notice, this window right here is this thing. If I go over and I click all resources, that brings me back to my computer programming options here, right? So my applications. So for now, I'm going to open SolidWorks. This is what my 8th graders are going to use. I'm going to show you an error that happens. It's really tricky. Like sometimes things happen that aren't supposed to happen, and I wish I could say that this software is perfect all the time. I'm just being honest with you. It's not. So there's workarounds to it. I'll be honest with you. If you go in here to the Drive File Stream and sorry, where am I at here? Into the Drive File Stream, and this doesn't show up the first time. Sometimes it will just show up as a black screen. If you go back here and click all resources and hit it again, it'll actually open up. All right. Why you have to do it twice sometimes, I can't tell you. Let's see if we can get SolidWorks to do its weird thing that it does. So I'm going to click this and click allow to have SolidWorks open. And what we have found is that sometimes SolidWorks opens and sometimes it doesn't. But I want you to pay attention to what you see going on up here. So you can see that it's trying to do something, but sometimes it just doesn't do it. SolidWorks is a pretty robust program, and it takes a little bit of time for it to open. But honestly, if you've let 45 seconds or a minute or something go by and it hasn't actually opened, here's a top secret trick to make it work, right? So it should be on my screen right here in the center right now, and it's not. If I go back here and I click all resources, and sometimes it doesn't, so let's try it again. And it's good this is happening, because this is likely going to happen for some of us. Sometimes it won't open. So if I go over here to Photoshop, I'll bet you I can trick it into opening. I want you to watch really closely. If I click allow, as Photoshop starts to open, you're probably going to see SolidWorks pop up in the background as a window. It's just going to flash and then it's going to disappear. Let's see if it does it. So if I minimize it, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it doesn't. The good thing is that Photoshop opened up here. There it was. Did you see it in the background? So it kind of gets stuck in the background for whatever reason. I can't tell you why. It's annoying. But if you just say yes, now SolidWorks is going to open. So it's like there's not enough window space up here or something for it, and it gets hidden in the background. So if you are an 8th grader and you're trying to open SolidWorks and it doesn't open, just try opening one of the other programs like Photoshop and close it, and lo and behold, there's SolidWorks there in the background. It's a bit of a frustrating thing, but it works pretty well if you can deal with those little tiny annoying little things. Now, why is that thing so important? Well, keep in mind, this is not SolidWorks running on your computer. This is SolidWorks running on a remote web server on another computer somewhere else, all right? And on that program, if I click File and Open, I can actually go out there and I can browse my Google Drive file stream, which is a cloud-based storage system. So I can go out there and I can pull a file literally from Google Drive, and I can open it on a remote web server within a browser on a laptop computer, on a remote computer. It's crazy that we can get that stuff to work. So we can open a remote program. If we go to File and Save As, we can also save it in one of those remote folders as well too. So here's Google Classroom, and let's say you were going to save this as a 8th grade assignment right here. I can literally come in here, change the name, save it, and it saves. I don't expect everybody to remember all of this. This is just an example of me showing you some of the things that can be done with the remote desktop web client, with Classlink, and also with the, hold on, where's it at? It's in here. And also with the Drive file stream, which is going to come up on the screen here too. There it is. So Drive file stream. Okay. I'll go into more specific stuff with that as we get through this process. But these are 3 really, really important things that I'm going to need you guys to know and understand. And here, to be completely honest with you, I'll show you the final piece of the puzzle. When you go into Google and when you go into your Google Classroom, so I'm going to log into Google Classroom. Remember, I'm a student right now in my class. So let's say I'm a student in 6th grade. I think that's where I put the assignment. And I go into classwork I put a test assignment in there called testing for me. You guys won't see that. This is just for me. So remember, I'm this student, MS Tech Ed student, and I can view the assignment, which has no details on it. But let's say I go through and I finish the assignment. It's totally finished, and I want to hand it in, and I had it saved. Let's say it was a drawing that was in my Drive file stream. I can go to Add or Create. I can go to Google Drive. And then if I go to My Drive here in Classroom, and whatever class you're working in, whether it's Tech Ed or Social Studies or Math or whatever it might be, you can browse into each one of these, and the work that you've worked on is saved in here. You find the correct assignment. Let's say that this is it. And I can literally attach it to there. I think I didn't click it. There we go. So now it's attached, and I can turn it in. And if I had my phone in my pocket with me right now, you would actually hear my phone make a bing, and then I know that this student, which is MS Tech Ed, had turned this assignment in for whatever this assignment might be. So at the end of the day, the whole reason for doing all of this, the whole reason for having Google web browser logged in with your Google login is so that you can open up Classlink, get to the remote application server, which is right here, link up your Drive file stream, open your SolidWorks or Photoshop or whatever it is you might be working on, save the file in Google Drive, and then ultimately be able to turn it in through Google Classroom. It sounds really complicated, especially when I'm trying to do it in a 18-minute video or so. But once you do it once or twice, it's old hat, and you'll be able to do it over and over and over, and you'll have a whole lot of success with it. And honestly, this is what we're going to be using the whole year. So the sooner we get more accustomed to this, the better we're going to be. If you have questions, come see me in school. Send me an email. Most of the things that are going wrong, we can fix by just me sending a video and that explains how to fix it. There are certain situations where I may have to have a follow-up with you and have you contact our tech department, but we'll cross that bridge if and when we come to it. I hope you guys have a good day.